Superstars, it is so good to be together again today. I'm Beth.
I'm Caden.
And I'm Ava.
Now, did you guys know that God began a good work in you and He will be faithful to complete it?
Yes, and because He did a good work in us, it means that He is never going to leave us.
And when we learn to see ourselves as God sees us, then we have the confidence to get in the mix.
Yes, but it isn't a confidence in ourselves, it's a complete confidence in God. Now, I know a story from the Bible where somebody had such a confidence in Jesus, they were able to step right into the mix in a bit of a crazy situation. Would you like to hear that story now?
Of course we would, Mom.
Awesome.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now, for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 22 through 33.
Jesus and his friends had reached the end of a long day, and they were exhausted.
Get in the boat. Go ahead to the other side of the lake.
Oh, wait a second. Aren't you coming too?
I must send the crowd home.
Well, all right. Andrew, James, John, let's get a move on.
That very morning, Jesus had received terrible news. His cousin, John the Baptist, had been killed by King Herod. Wishing to be alone, he and the other disciples took the boat and went across the other side of the lake. But people followed, and later that day, Jesus fed more than 5,000 people with only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish.
So, bro, is Jesus gonna meet up with us later or what?
He didn't say.
Peter and Andrew and the other disciples climbed into the boat.
Nice breeze.
Yeah, but it's picking up. Should we wait?
Jesus said go, so we go, no?
Yeah, bro.
The disciples set off across the Sea of Galilee, rocked by a gentle wind. Finally, the crowds dispersed. At last, Jesus was alone. He climbed up high on the mountainside and poured out his heart to his Father.
Father.
As evening turned to night and night stretched toward morning, the wind across the lake grew wild. Instead of reaching land, the disciples were tossed back and forth on the rising waves.
We're taking on water!
Bail it out. James and John, you take the stern. Andrew and I have the bow.
The wind and waves continued to pound the small boat. The disciples could barely see through the spray.
Hey, Peter, what's that?
What's what?
I see you too.
See what?
Come back here.
Peter staggered to the back of the boat. Everyone looked out into the gloom to try to figure out what this murky shape was that was coming toward them on the stormy sea.
It's a ghost.
Oh! Help us! We're gonna die!
But even as the men began to panic, the figure called out to them.
Be brave. It is I. Don't be afraid.
Peter fixed his gaze on the figure.
Lord, is it you?
The man came straight toward them, walking on the surging water as if it were a smooth, sandy beach.
If it is you, tell me to come to you on the water.
Come.
Now everyone stared at Peter.
You can't walk on water, bro.
But Jesus can.
Taking a deep breath, Peter grabbed the plunging side of the boat and then threw his legs over the side. Impossibly, he stood up on the water.
Whoa.
This is crazy.
Peter locked his eyes on Jesus, the only solid, stable thing in the storm-tossed sea. He took a step, then another step, and a third step. But at that moment, Peter caught sight of a monstrous wave at the edge of his vision. He turned his gaze toward the monstrous wall that threatened to crush him.
No!
Instantly, Peter lost his footing. The water sucked him down and whipped him around.
Lord, save me!
Immediately, Jesus reached out and grabbed Peter's hand.
Your faith is so small. Why did you doubt me?
Jesus firmly helped Peter back into the boat. Then he got in too. The wind died down and the water became smooth as glass. Jesus' friends sank down in the wet deck of the boat and stared at him in awe.
You really are the Son of God.
Free of the storm, the boat sailed smoothly across the water, guided by a gentle breeze. As day broke, Jesus and his friends landed at Gennesaret. After a night they would never forget.
That story is so awesome. Imagine if we were one of those disciples and you're on a boat and it's really stormy and it's dark and you just think you've seen a ghost.
They must have been so scared, but Peter had trust and confidence in Jesus.
Yeah, in fact, he had so much confidence in Jesus that it gave him the ability to get into the mix and step out of the boat into the water, which was the very thing that he was actually scared of. You know, when he kept his eyes on Jesus, he had confidence. But the minute he looked at the water, that's when it all started going a little bit wrong. And you know, it can be the same for us in our lives. When we look at the problems around us, we can get into a little bit of a mess. But when we keep our eyes on Jesus, we can get in the mix.
I like that, Mum. It's catchy. And something else that's catchy is today's craft.
Jenny, it's over to you.
Hello, Superstars. Did you know that Peter, the disciple who walked on water, was a fisherman? He'd have caught fishes in all shapes and sizes, and that's what we're going to make for our craft today. You will need a square of paper. I've chosen a brightly coloured piece of paper because it helps me to show you what to do, but you can choose anything you like, or you can just go for a plain white piece of paper. Some scissors, some blue tissue paper, some red tissue paper, and something like a rolled up piece of newspaper to play the game. Let's start by making the fishing net. Take your piece of square paper and you want to fold it corner to corner to make a triangle. With the folded edge at the bottom, you need to fold this corner to this corner. I'm going to fold mine left to right. Now with this folded edge now on this side, you want to take this top corner and fold it down to the bottom corner. Now you want to take this folded edge and you want to fold it so it matches at the bottom. It will look like this. Next, take your scissors and you want to cut off this triangle. You can put these pieces of paper to one side because we don't need those. Now take your scissors and you want to make some cuts into this small triangle. So starting at the folded edge, you want to cut but stop just before you get to the bottom. Then you want to go from the bottom this way and stop just before the folded edge. It will begin to look like this. Keep going until you get to this end. Now carefully unfold your piece of paper. Now take your piece of paper and you want to hold it in the middle and you just want to pull the edges out. And as you can see, you've made a fishing net. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some fish. Take your tissue paper and you want to cut out 5 red fish and 5 blue fish. Once you've cut out your 5 blue fish and your 5 red fish from the tissue paper, it's time to play the game. Take your rolled up piece of newspaper or your magazine, and what you want to see, if you can use your newspaper to see if you can get any of the fish into the net. Oh, look, there we have it, we've caught a red fish. You might want to play this with someone else at home. Somebody chooses to be the red fish and somebody chooses to be the blue fish, and you can see who is the winner. That's all for now. Bye!
That was so much fun, Jenny, but do you know what else is fun?
What?
Doing the worship.
Yeah, let's worship together now.
I know the reason why my feet can't stop, my heart can't help but sing. It's a wonderful feeling to feel your love for me, to feel the joy you bring. Your love is the answer, so I sing to you. The reason is you, Jesus. You're why I'm singing now. The reason is you, Jesus. You're what it's all about. At the cross you set me free, and I'm thankful that you love me. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. I'm thankful that you love me. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. I know the reason why my hands are up, my feet dance down below. It's a wonderful feeling that I belong to you, no matter where I may go. Your love is the answer, so I sing to you. The reason is you, Jesus. You're why I'm singing now. The reason is you, Jesus. You're what it's all about. At the cross you set me free, and I'm thankful that you love me. Whoa, Jesus, you're the reason. I never wanna shake this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason. I can't stop this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason. I never wanna shake this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason. The reason is you, Jesus. You're why I'm singing now. The reason is you, Jesus. You're what it's all about. At the cross you set me free, and I'm thankful that you love me. Whoa, oh, oh, oh. So thankful that you love me. Whoa, oh, 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 oh. Come on, come on. I can't stop this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason. Let's go. I never wanna shake this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason. Come on. I can't stop this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason. Come on. I never wanna shake this feeling. Jesus, you're the reason.
We have had so much fun being with you guys today, and we cannot wait to see you next week. But until then, you guys, remember, you were born to shine. Bye!